Hi, my name's Amy Leonard. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And, the symptoms that I started to experience really came about around 8 years ago, right after my son was born. I started having just after he was born, my hip hurt, and it felt kind of like it wasn't maybe coming back or going back in to where it belonged after pregnancy. And so I went into a chiropractor and was trying to maybe see if there was an adjustment that needed to be made. And after a couple of chiropractic appointments, something happened. I was standing at home one day, and my muscles just freaked out all the way around my left hip and had spasms, and I went into a period of like 3 or 4 days of extreme pain, and then it just never really went away from there. It started to just kind of flow down my whole leg, and I was at the point where I had to get massages every week or two because my whole leg was locked up, all of the muscles were tense, and I just had extreme pain all the way down to the top of my foot on a daily basis. It was very, very unfortunate. And then just this last year, I started to develop additional pain in my right arm, very similar. Muscle tension, locking up, and then some really bad nerve pain in my left hand. And those were also unexplainable. Went to all kinds of doctors, went all the way to Mayo in Rochester, Mayo Clinic, and everyone told me, I took every test under the sun, and everyone told me that there wasn't anything wrong with me. So I actually didn't start with the app. I started with the podcast. As I mentioned in my last video, my final doctor appointment, where I was told nothing was wrong with me from Rochester Clinic and Mayo Clinic in Rochester. I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I decided that on my drive home, I needed something to focus on to try and make my experience better because I was in so much pain. And so I started searching chronic pain podcasts, and the second one I ended up on was Like Mind, Like Body. And what really hooked me was within that hour and a half, as I was listening to the first couple episodes, I experienced less pain. By the time I got home, my leg hurt less than it had when I got in the car. And I had never been able to control my pain before, so I knew that that was a thing. I think I listened to podcasts again and again as much as I could for the next 3 weeks, and ended up having my first pain-free day in 6 years. And then, I started using the app or the podcast about 7 months ago. And then after going through most of those episodes in February of this year, so about 4 months ago, I started using the app. And right away, I used it a lot. I used the panic button a lot, and got really good at figuring out that emotions were really at the base of a lot of my pain flares. And so I actually don't use it regularly anymore. If I do have a pain flare, I definitely go right back to the app and start figuring out what's going on. But I feel like I've really learned a new way to manage my pain. And like I said, I'm mostly pain free. For me, I have two main pieces of advice that I got from the whole Like Mind, Like Body podcast and Curable experience. The first and most important is do not underestimate the power and the role of your brain in experiencing pain and managing the condition of your body. Your brain is in the driver's seat for everything about how your body works, how much of a chemical is released, how much of a message is heard. And I just did not understand that. And I didn't understand the fact that your brain can kind of start to misfunction a little bit in that way, and that your conscious mind can actually influence those unconscious operations in your brain. And for me, that meant a huge reduction in chronic pain and elimination on many days. The second one would be that even if you have a known physical issue that is at the root of your pain, again, being able to understand how your brain participates in that condition and what you could potentially do to make it better. can improve your experience greatly, even if you can't get rid of that physical problem. For example, I had chronic pain that in my nerves that was then causing my muscles to become all tense, that was causing more pain within my legs. And once I got a hold of that kind of brain management, I was able to relax my muscles, which was able to remove a huge amount of pain. And that never happened no matter how many massages or meditations I did prior to using Curable.